Fambul, the time na 9 o'clock. Now for continue for stay in touch with the people where you like with Orange Cola.
Orange.
Good evening, welcome to News Hour live on the SLBC. I'm Salma Taba. In tonight's edition of News Hour, preparations ahead of free education policy well on track. Education stakeholders assure the public. Former Executive Director Campaign for Good Governance, Valnoga Edwin, says her exit from CGG is not an end to her civil activism on rights issues. Small Arms Commission trained 17 military officers on the protection of armories. And one-time Director of Finance at the ECOWAS Commission in Nigeria and former NRA boss in Sierra Leone, Ali Sise, wins a case against the Commission. All the stories, including sports and entertainment, all lined up within the next 1 hour of News Hour tonight. Welcome to News Hour. The Executive Director of Campaign for Good Governance, Valnoga Edwin, has resigned after serving the institution for 18 years. Campaign for Good Governance has been promoting governance issues, democracy and peace in Sierra Leone. Why the resignation? Valnoga Edwin spoke to our sister program, Good Morning Sierra Leone.
There are two responses to that. First of all, we have to realize that there's a world beyond, let me say, politics or government. And as I was saying to someone, this is just my personal, regardless of whether we had an elections or not. Someone was asking, why is it just about 100 days after? My professional growth has nothing to do with the government, regardless of whether we have elections, regardless of what political party is in office. That has nothing to do with my professional growth. If I have an opportunity, I take that opportunity.
Well, I know that after when the news actually came out that you have resigned as Executive Director of a Campaign for Good Governance, owing to the fact that you are an expert in governance issues, who thought that a political office was already set for you?
So that's the second part of my response. No, I have not been informed as I sit that they want me to occupy an office. And I always tell people, if that offer is done to anyone, I think it's just about whether it meets your professional background, whether you think you can make a difference, whether you'll be able to have the space to do your job, and whether you're going to be appreciated as a professional. And it is not a crime for anyone. If somebody thinks Sheku Sumaila or Dorin can occupy a position based on their professional background and respected for that, I think you are the sort of people who want to see in those places. So again, it's not a crime when people take those offices. What becomes an issue is when people get swept away by party affiliation, when they start Secondly, I think we have to understand that there's a distinction between occupying a civil society space and when you are in a government or entity. Whether it is parastatals, commissions, or ministerial positions, etc. It's a different space. And that sort of activism approach, you cannot have it because it's a different sphere. You even become a civil servant. If you say, I'm leaving civil society space and I'm just going to be a civil servant, you cannot have that same approach because it's a difference in.
She is Valnora Edwin, outgoing Executive Director of Campaign for Good Governance. She recently resigned from the governance institution after serving there for 18 good years. We wish her well in her new endeavor. The Small Arms Commission has trained military officers from different battalions in the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces on the safety and protection of armories. The training, which was supported by the German Federal Foreign Office and Mines Advocacy Group, capacitated military officers on how to manage and do stock taking of ammunition during by reports.
Hands is one of the challenges facing many militaries in the world today. Weapons have landed in wrong hands who normally use them against unarmed civilians. The training is an effort to have a proper handling of weapons and ammunition to ensure they are kept in armories in order for them not to land on the wrong hands. Commander Joint Force Sule Ibrahim Sise described the training as a laudable venture in the drive to have arms kept in armories. He said the military personnel went through 3 weeks training on how to manage, take stock and monitor the use of weapons. He said that the skills and knowledge gained by the military personnel is coming at a time when they are committed to having a proper system on how weapons should be kept and handled. He commended the Small Arms Commission and its partners for capacitating the military. Commander retired Technical Field Manager from the Mines Advisory Group told his audience that the 3 weeks training was intensive and was a climax with an examination to test participant knowledge on the topics they were taught. He expressed assurance that the trained personnel are now in a better footing to protect and control weapons. A representative from the Small Arms Commission, Lieutenant Colonel Mbadi Sogo Bangura, said that the Commission has over the years supported the reconstruction of armories and the training of military personnel on how weapons should be handled and managed. He said that the training is part of the Commission's mandate to ensure an effective record system of how weapons are used, which was a challenge over the past years.
One-time Director of Finance at the ECOWAS Commission in Nigeria and former NRA Commissioner General in Sierra Leone, Aliyu Sise, has won a case against the Commission after he was sacked for alleged corruption. According to reports, Mr. Sise took a legal action for what he believed was an unfair decision against him. Aliyu Sise's lawyer, Sam Kago, based in Nigeria, spoke on the podium about the ruling.
He now used the audit report to make a case against Aliyu. And what was the case? Funnily enough, the report simply said that, yeah, there have been some financial transactions here that need to be investigated further, and there are 7 officers who took part in the transactions. Give them a query so they have their own explanation as to why the transactions went the way they did. The day he hit to that, he left that and jumped to the NFI, that is the
Financial Intelligence
Unit, of Nigeria, which is a department of the EFCC, that is the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, and took the matter to them for them to investigate those transactions.
What was really the transaction that he was...
I'm coming to it.
Yeah,
what was the transaction? There were 4 transactions. The 2 had happened long before Aliyu assumed the office. They happened in 2014. And that is the sale of the ECOWAS properties and monies meant for the 40th anniversary of ECOWAS. Those 2 transactions had happened before.
And how about him buying the black market
No,
stores?
I'm coming to it. The other 2 transactions that Aliyu was involved in, one was Aliyu divesting money from EcoBank and placing them in Nigerian banks, which was a council decision. The council had, long before he came into office, made a resolution that they should minimize risk instead of just having all of their own monies in one bank, which is EcoBank, they should spread risk to healthy Nigerian banks. And he being the Commissioner for Finance, it was within his purview to act on that. He did. But the power to negotiate interest rates for those monies placed in those banks did not lie with him, but a committee headed by the Vice President. Ali was just a member of that committee. No, he won't get his job back. The job was for 2 years, specific time.
So what about his outstanding, his backlog?
Of course he'll be paid.
Okay. No compensation from the commission?
No compensation. The award that was given as damages over and above just the salaries that are due to him was 2 million naira. But the most significant aspect of the judgment, which everybody has to know, is the fact that the court came very heavily on the commission and thought that the president was reckless and did not act within the standards expected of somebody heading an institution of that nature. That he could whimsically fabricate allegations against the gentleman without an iota of evidence and without even the preparedness to go through those allegations. What he did, he merely used the allegations to make a case. And his case, the case he made to Council of Ministers was that, hey, the Nigerian government is so particular about what happened within the commission that their own institutions are even investigating the matter, not given the impression that he was the person who actually took the matter to the EFCC. He made it look like it was because the Nigerian government was so concerned about what was happening within the commission that they took it upon themselves to do what they did.
Kagbo, the counsel who represented Aliyu Sise during a case he recently won at the ECOWAS court after he was sacked on allegation of misappropriation of funds meant for the commission while serving as director of finance at the ECOWAS commission. Orel Insurance Company has recorded an increase of 70.72% of gross written premium from the 1st January 2017 to the 31st of December 2017. The gross written premium for the year ending was 26.96 billion as compared to 25.92 billion for the corresponding period to the 31st of December 2016. This was said by the chairperson of the Board of Directors, Yasmin Fofana, at the 31st annual general meeting held at the Atlantic Hall of the National Stadium. Hannah Tukonte reports.
Amidst the economic uncertainties and volatile environment, Orel Insurance continues to deliver strong performance in the insurance industry. According to its annual report, the company recorded a profit before tax of 3.92 billion yuans as compared to 4.07 billion yuans in 2016. Claims paid during the period under review amounted to 9.23 billion yuans as compared to 8.06 billion yuans for the corresponding period to 31st December 2016, an increase of 14.51%. Expense ratio for 12 months to 31st December 2017 was 47.30% as compared to 46.25% for the corresponding period to 31st December 2016. The chairperson of the Board of Directors, Yasmin Fofana, mentioned the slow economic growth of 4.3% in 2017 from 6.3% in 2016, due largely to weak recovery in mineral production. She said in spite of the difficult operating environment and after careful consideration of the results of operations, the board have recommended a premium of 0.60% per share to all shareholders as at 31st December 2017. Mrs. Fofana informed shareholders that as a company, Orel Insurance provides a conducive working environment for members of staff to pursue their continuous professional development so that they will realize their full potentials and enable them to provide excellent customer service to their clients. She said their premium income has grown by 35% over the last 5 years, compared to the market's premium growth of 32% for the same period. Mrs. Fofana thanked customers for the continued patronage and promised them that the company will continue to render services that exceed their expectations. The audited financial report was presented to the audit firm BDO.
Two young Sierra Leonean students have become the first to make solar-powered tricycle in Sierra Leone. The two-of-a-kind use tricycle materials such as scrap metals and cables to build the unit is aimed at reducing the hassle on especially disabled persons as means of transportation. Suriba Samura visited one of the warehouses, and in our reports.
Here, according to Emmanuel and Andrew, if this one is improved upon, everyone else can use this one in Sierra Leone.
The latest innovation in Sierra Leone is by two students, Emmanuel Ali Mansare and Andrew Norma. The solar tricycle is a single seat meant to facilitate movement of persons with disability. The dry cell battery and solar-powered tricycle has 1 passenger capacity. The unit moves through a single chain connected to a 24 volts motor, reeling around 2 small ratcheted wheels, causing the whole unit to move. This tricycle has seat belts, which makes it unique when compared to tricycles that have now flooded the city. The two innovators explained to SLBC that through the effort of Kite Sierra Leone, they were able to get all 3 wheels free of charge.
So it started in that little form, which was not identified by then. It was until when I was in the high school, we used to attend some innovative competitions, and afterwards I started to benefit out of it. By then, I finally accepted innovation to be part of my life.
Students made use of the scrap metals and cables they acquired from spare parts dealers in the east end of Freetown to assemble the tricycle. Ibrahim Sidibe sells metal spares at Bremer Lane. He said he had no idea as to what these 2 young men were going to use the bearings they bought from his shop. As they were going all out for the materials to embark on their innovation, Emmanuel and Andrew bumped into Alusain Kabo at Rukupa Junction, from whom they bought the additional bearings. Alusain was amazed to know that the 2 men were up to something of national pride and interest. The solar tricycle was first publicly displayed during a talent show at the Flaming Bible Church in Freetown. After that display, the 2 were officially recognized by the Ministry of Youth Affairs. Suriba Samura, SLBC News, Freetown.
An interesting piece here by our own Suriba Samura on the first set of 2 students that's actually been the first Sierra Leoneans to actually been able to build a tricycle. The Chief Executive Officer and founder of We Give All Charity, Zainab Jallo, has said that the hepatitis disease is the silent killer that needs urgent attention. Over 300 people worldwide are aware that they have viral hepatitis, according to the World Health Organization's reports. She made the statement at a session in Freetown to mark the day. Joseph Toure filing this report.
Hepatitis is an inflammation of the liver commonly caused by viral infection. Hepatitis B and C are chronic infections that often do not show symptoms. Decades can pass with no symptoms in some cases. This late detection causes cancer. Hepatitis B and C also affect the most vulnerable people, with children and marginalized populations such as intravenous drug users and prisoners. It is also reported that over 300 million people worldwide are unaware they have viral hepatitis. According to a specialist at the Ministry of Health, Dr. Suleiman Lako, the disease attacks the liver, which is a very paramount organ in the body. He highlighted that the virus can be contracted through unsafe sex, contaminated blood fluid, from pregnant mother to a baby, and many more, which can result to liver cancer. Dr. Lako, however, noted that the disease can be treated through administering vaccine 3 doses in 6 months to affected persons. He refutes rumors that the disease can be transmitted through sweat, saliva, urine, vomit, and tears. Zainab Jallo, CEO and founder of We Give All charity, said her father lost her life to the disease because he was never aware that he had it. She noted they have discovered that the level of awareness of the disease in the country is very low. She called on the public to go for tests at government hospital to know their status.
The Minister of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, Memunatu Pratt, has called on stakeholders within the Western Peninsula coastline to ensure security and upkeep of the beach environment. She made this call during the launch of the Environmental, Sanitation and Security Committee at the Ministry Conference Room. The formation of the Environmental, Sanitation and Security Committee is to help in the waste management and security of beach users. Dying by reports.
Sierra Leone is blessed with beautiful beaches, exotic ambience, green scenery, and white and gold sand. A beautiful and crime-free beach is key to attracting more tourists and investments. The introduction of the committee is coming at a time when the Ministry of Tourism and Culture is looking for strategies to ensure sanitation and security within the beach environment. The Committee on Environmental Sanitation and Security comprised stakeholders from the various beach environments within the Western Peninsula coastal line. The Minister of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, Memunatu Pratt, said the introduction of the committee would brand the tourism sector. She said the involvement of stakeholders to provide security and ensure the cleaning of the beaches will help to beautify and attract more tourists into the country. She spoke about plans to adopt a booth project along the beaches that would be given to traders to do their businesses. She said that the booth project will ensure uniformity of kiosks that would add value to the tourism sector. Chairman of the Parliamentary Oversight Committee on Tourism and Culture, Honorable Tom Tucker, spoke about the importance of an environmental, sanitation and security committee, which he described as a step to upkeep the beaches. He appealed to the stakeholders to cooperate in order to actualize the visions of the ministry. The liaison officer, Ministry of Tourism and the Aberdeen community, Prophetess Deborah Numa, said the Aberdeen beach is faced with incidents of crime and pollution of the beach. She assured them of the committee's commitment towards advancement of the tourism sector.
The late Reverend Matthew Ibrahim Babakwati was born on the early 50s in Freetown to a Ghanaian father. He started his early education in Ghana and later in Freetown. Matthew Kwati started working at the Sierra Daily Mail, where he worked at the account section and later a reporter. Before his demise, he was a court reporter at Radio Democracy for over a decade. He died on the 28th of July. Our own Rose Konima Stevens has been looking at the life of the late man.
Babakwati is amongst 5 renowned media practitioners of recent time that has passed away. His death came as a surprise to many in the media. Matthew Kwati was seen active during the 2018 annual general meeting of the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists in July. Mr. Kwati started his journalism career as a proofreader at the Daily Mail newspaper in 1988 and was later promoted to a reporter. He later joined Radio Democracy, where he served as a reporter and was attached to the courts. The late man carved a niche in court reporting. To those whom he had worked with, especially the Radio Democracy family, where he spent 18 years of his life, Matthew was seen to be a fatherly figure. The age gap between him and his colleagues did not stop him from being jovial with the younger folks. To the dedicated listeners of Radio Democracy, Matthew Kwati's voice was almost like an authoritative voice on court reporting.
One High Court Judge, Justice Abdulrahman Mansari, don't give some order them inside.
His humility, according to many, was the hallmark of his character. Today he is no more. Few months ago, he was seen to be hale and hearty, especially when he was opportuned to witness this year's SLAJ annual general meeting in Kenema. He was amongst the newest members to be admitted into the association in 2018. Wani Gauja, a colleague of Matthew at Radio Democracy, said she had fond memories of the late man.
So I appreciate Reverend for that, and I'm going to meet him. Reverend was a friendly person. Reverend was fun to be around with, because whenever Reverend comes around, you know, it's not been long since I started working here, and for all the times I've known Reverend for, he was a respective person, and irrespective of the age, Reverend respected each and every individual.
Alex Lawrence Koma and Michael Sambola were impressed with Matthew Kwati's diligence and dedication to his job.
In the morning, come back in the afternoon, write his news. And come back, Papa Alex, have written 2 news, 2 court stories, and have prepared my report. This one is very interesting. Of course, it has to do with XYZ magistrate, and I'm sure you're going to use this one as a headline story, or it's very important for you to use. I'm sure you're going to use this one. Reverend will wait here until 9 p.m. for waiting the bee, until he listens to his story. I will say, Reverend, what are you waiting for? Go home, tune your radio, you will listen to your story. So no, I'll wait. After the program, I'll go.
So Matthew Kwati had been working for Radio Democracy for about 18 years, and just earlier this year we celebrated his retirement. We did a lot of stuff. We ate together, we cheered him up, we celebrated him.
President Sierra Leone Association of Journalists, SLAJ, Kelvin Lewis, said Matthew was not just an exemplary character, but one of the happiest men in becoming a SLAJ member.
Reverend, he said prayers when we opened the book of condolence for Sabura long ago. And I jokingly said to him that you're going to become the chaplain of SLAJ. And he walked into that role without any grumble, without any misgivings, any negativity. He just quietly went into the role. During the SLAJ AGM, he said prayers. When we came back to Freetown, and we had to open a book of condolence for Ayosfore. Last Tuesday, this was last Tuesday, he was the one who said prayers there.
He therefore noted that people generally should do regular medical checkups to avoid sudden attacks, especially as the profession itself is full of stress.
As far as the profession is concerned, except Samura, who inadvertently died in the line of duty, all the others, S.U. Tronka, it was 2 vehicular accidents. Frank Posoa was 2 vehicular accidents. Pius was a medical condition. Reverend too was a medical condition. I understand it was an attack. I'm not too sure about that now. But they are all medical conditions. I would only ask everybody, not only journalists, to try and check your health as often as you can.
Matthew Ibrahim Baba Kwati was born to a Ghanaian father and a Sierra Leonean mother in the early 50s and was married with some children. The late court reporter will be missed for his accurate court reportage and will be remembered by the media fraternity in the country.
That is the story compiled by Rose Conima Stevens on the life of the late Matthew Kwati of Radio Democracy. Rokel Commercial Bank has launched a new product called SIM Kopo, which makes sending and receiving money easier. The project was launched by the Deputy Minister of Finance, Dr. Priscilla Lavalley, at the bank's Congo Cross branch. Cynthia Kamara reports.
Rokel Commercial Bank has made sending and receiving money easier through their latest product, SimCorpo. The product was launched to cater for Rokel Bank customers in the country without using normal procedures, as it saves time to transact bills, salaries and purchases can be made through this product. Presenting the product, Kizaya Salankule said the introduction of the product will lead to the avoidance of long queues as a waste of time and as well cater for people who want to be in the banking system without requirements, and its secure one-time password that even though the phone is missing, it cannot be used by anyone.
The product also caters for people that want to be in the banking system but do not have the complete requirements. In terms of security, the product generates a one-time password that customers can use to execute transactions. Also, if e-checks are issued, a 16-digit code will be sent to the recipient, and for the transaction to be complete, the sender will create a password for the transaction, which he will have to give the receiver for confirmation upon request for encashment. Should the customer lose their phone, no one will access their account because their password will not be accessible.
Managing Director, Rokel Commercial Bank, Dr. Walton Ekundayo Gilpin, spoke on the financial status in the country as they desire to improve effectiveness in financial transactions through mobile phones so that local traders could do business through SimCorpo without going to the bank.
We believe that there is a need for the ladies selling fish to be able to transact a financial business away from the bed, away from digging a hole and being included in the financial architecture.
Launching the product, Deputy Minister of Finance, Dr. Priscilla Lavalley, appreciated the management of the Rokel Commercial Bank for what she called a brilliant initiative, and that government is particularly happy for such developments in a quest to improve banking in the country.
So the Ministry of Finance will, in collaboration with other key stakeholders, create the enabling environment for Sierra Leoneans doing business to become self-reliant and economically empowered, because we do recognize that financial inclusion, bank governor, financial inclusion serves as a critical pathway for uplifting our underserved and disenfranchised people out of poverty.
She added that Rokel Commercial Bank has served as a catalyst in improving the country's economy and that financial inclusion will be a power drive for microeconomic growth.
CSC Construction Company has placed a beam on the Moa River to define the final phase of the construction of a bridge on the Bandajuma Ferry crossing in Moala village in the Pujon district. The exercise is part of the Bandajuma-Liberia Border Road and Bridges project that is funded by the European Union.
The project manager for CSC, Martha Lowe, informed the visiting team that the project is divided into 3 lots. Lot 1, he said, is the construction of 3 bridges on the Siwa River in Gondama, Wanje River in Bandajuma, and Moa River on the Bandasuma ferry crossing in Moala. CSC, it noted, is working in a joint venture with a French company specialized in bridge construction called Matière. It pointed out that works on the Siwa River Bridge and Wanje River Bridge will be completed by November 2018, and the Moa River Bridge will be ready for use in January 2019. Lot 2 and 3, he said, include the reconstruction of 42-kilometer road from Banda Juma to Moala side of the river and 58-kilometer road from the other side of the river to Liberia border, respectively. It assured the government and the people of Sierra Leone that works on both of these lots will be completed in February 2020. Property acquisition, is said, has been a major challenge to the implementation project and therefore appealed to the government to fast-track compensation to affected property owners. Resident engineer of Inruslakna, Jens Homer, disclosed that beside the construction of the bridge and roadworks, the project is also implementing other minor projects within the 12 villages of the road stretch as part of their corporate social responsibility. He pointed out that in addition to employing about 800 local staff, they are also constructing markets, schools, and health centers in these communities. The director of the National Authorizing Office, Amy Myers, thanked the European Union for being pivotal in the road sector development in Sierra Leone. The construction of the Moa River Bridge, she pointed out, is of major significance in promoting easy flow of traffic, which will replace a ferry with a capacity of carrying only 2 vehicles. In her remarks, the Director General, Sierra Leone Roads Authority, Memuna Kumbajalo, lauded the contractor CSC for a work well done. She informed the gathering that the launching of beams in roadworks will continue as the country will soon commence the construction of flyovers and therefore called on the bridge specialists to be prepared for more assignments. The Deputy Chairman of the Parliamentary Oversight Committee on Works and Public Asset, Honorable Ibrahim Conte, said the launching of the beam is another historic event for both Sierra Leone and CSC, considering the fact that it's the first time a bridge is constructed on the side of the Moa River. He commended SLRA for standing tall in their work and promised that the committee will do its level best to support the authority and its resolve on roadworks. In his keynote address, the Minister of Works and Public Asset, Raymond de Souza George, described the European Union as a financial pillar in the infrastructural development of Sierra Leone. He described the project as a source of comfort not only for the community but for the rest of the people of this country. The full appreciation of the project, he added, will be realized when the road is completed.
Transparency International Sierra Leone chapter has launched a report on beneficial land ownership in Sierra Leone. The report, which revealed high level of corruption and land governance, made recommendations on the way forward. The launch took place at the British Council and was witnessed by international partners, the Anti-Corruption Commission, and rights campaigners. Sheku Sumala reports.
Land governance has been and continues to be a problematic sector in this country. Acquisition of land and distribution of land have not been in the interest of most land owners. Acquisition of land by multinational companies for agricultural purposes had been done without the involvement of community people. Land deals have been shady. It is for these reasons that Transparency International, with support from UK8, decided to support chapters of Transparency International in countries, Sierra Leone being one, to conduct studies on land governance and proffer solutions. This is what Transparency International has done, and the report launched on the theme Promoting Transparency and Accountability in Land Deals through Beneficial Land Ownership Disclosures. This report revealed rampant corruption in land governance in this country, as was emphasized by representatives from the Anti-Corruption Commission, Trokia, Namati, Food and Agriculture Organization, and other human rights organizations. According to the Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, 95% of land in this country is not registered. The report recommends registration of lands, review of land tenure, and community involvement in land lease agreements. Lavina Bandua is Executive Director of Transparency International, Sierra Leone.
And we hope that the findings and recommendations will be studied carefully by all key actors involved in land governance in Sierra Leone, civil society, the media, and they will also take proactive steps to ensure that the recommendations are followed up.
Chairman Parliamentary Oversight Committee on Lands, Honorable Quentin Salia Kone, commended Transparency International for the report and gave assurances that Parliament will look at the report and take appropriate actions.
And we have issues of people, a particular somebody selling a plot of land to multiple buyers, a plot of land being sold to 3 or more people. Why is that happening? That is because we don't have proper systems to ensure that if a land is being bought, no one else can buy it again. That is because we don't have a system. That is because we have individuals who try to bypass the processes. Because one thing I know, in the Ministry of Land, there is something called the LS book, right? And until your plot of land is being registered in that book, that land does not belong to you.
Director of Systems Review, ACC Rashid Toure, said corruption in land governance is a concern to the Anti-Corruption Commission, the reason why they had carried out a systems review of the sector and made recommendations for improvement. Launching the report, Acting Chief Environment Officer, Ministry of Lands, Housing and Environment, Edward Bendu, said the report will serve as an eye-opener and the ministry is impressed that Transparency International has done such a good work.
The report indeed has detailed issues around the land governance system. They come up with shortcomings, challenges, and they have provided some recommendations around the land governance system in the country. We as a ministry, we congratulate them for having conducted such a study because they want to improve on the effectiveness and efficiency of land management and administration in the country. We are going to study the report, and most of the recommendations that have come in, I see they have given some ratings, green for certain areas that we have done well, that the government has done well, and they have given amber for some areas that they consider as being weak areas, and they have also given red for those areas that they believe it's not part of the ideal situation as being very good.
Land governance in the country, every speaker in this gathering agrees, needs a proper review. Reporting for SWC News, I'm Sheku Smiler.
For sports, the Minister of Sport, Ibrahim Yelenke, has in a just concluded football stakeholders meeting in Bo, which was supposed to be an SLF Extraordinary Congress, disclosed that the Aisha Johansson-led executive is no longer a reputable one. This came following a boycott of the Congress by the executive of the Sierra Leone Football Association. Our own Esther Marie Somewhere was there.
This is the Duhas Hotel in Bo. It is the official venue for the SLFA Extraordinary Congress. But as you've seen, the delegates are all set to take the Congress at the Bo Stadium in Bo. But we will now hear from the chairman for the football stakeholders or the membership of the Sierra Leone Football Association to tell us the secrets behind that.
We are here at the Duhas Hotel in honor of the notification we received from the SLFA convening the Extraordinary Congress. The reason why we are here is that since we received the notification from SLFA, there was no other correspondence directed to us that cancels the notification. And in line with the constitution of SLFA, once a notification has been issued, you are supposed to attend Congress as a member of the Football Association. I think we've had enough of this as members of the Football Association. They've summoned us here. If they are not here as members this time, I will want to assure you and the general public that we will assert our authority as members of the association. We will do whatever it takes to regain our property.
See, the members are all ready now. They've already arrived at the Bo Stadium in Bo to hold the extraordinary Congress.
Certain people that we think, that we believe they have the moral right, they have the mandate to run football to a state at which I think the people of this country should appreciate them. But today, these are the people we've seen killing football. As a government, I am here to honor the invitation as a representative of the government. What I want to say here, my position here is very straightforward, very clear. I think what has happened today here, I will go back to my bosses and tell them that indeed the stakeholders are serious to run football in this country. And I think what people have been saying about the SLFA, that these people don't have the interest of the game. They are only seeking their own personal interest. I think my bosses will know by Monday that the SLFA is no longer a reputable entity.
Thank you.
As I sit here, I speak in the capacity of the government. I'm telling you for free, this menace and this abnormal attitude, I think it must stop. We are going to put it to rest. We can no longer continue with this. We want football to play. I did make a promise to my president that I will make sure football play. And then how am I going to do it? Is to remove people that don't want to see the game play and to bring in players that have the passion for the game. I don't even have respect. I don't even have a cognizance of any roadmap FIFA document. I don't recognize it any longer. Because you know why? I have seen that, believe you me, take it from me, do your research. If we will continue with that document, believe you me, there will be no headway. Because some people see that document as their graveyard. They will never respect it. They will never go abide to it.
That was the Minister of Sport, Ibrahim Yelenka, addressing a cross-section of football stakeholders in Bo. Now for entertainment, Lake Production over the weekend launched this year's National Entertainment Awards at Queen Steed's Restaurant. Also, a young talented musician, Pete Wizzy, has released a new music video. Let's join Mohammed King Bilan Bangura, who compiled the reports.
Saturday, the 28th July, was a big day for stakeholders in the entertainment industry in Sierra Leone as they witnessed the launching and fundraising ceremony at the Queen's nightclub organized by the Lake Production. In his opening statements, the Master of Ceremony, Pastor Pete Dalton, reminded entertainment gurus at the ceremony that talents are born and some are nurtured, and stressed that there should be no blame game for the downfall of the entertainment industry in the country. He said inasmuch as there are true talented artists, so are some wannabes in the industry that just came in to achieve fame rather than take the entertainment industry as a business. In his speech, the CEO of Lake Production, Alhaji K. Tarawali, popularly known as Laj K, assured the public of a better and international style of this year's NIA Awards. Laj K also introduced the categories for this year's NIA Awards, varied from music, sports, movies, comedy, and humanitarian categories. The guest speaker, Mrs. Memunatu Pratt, the Minister of Tourism and Culture, said that her ministry is solely responsible for the entertainment in the country and pledged government support in promoting the entertainment industry. Last year's National Entertainment Awards DVDs were released on the market for the public to buy, and pledges for the DVDs were also made by the Minister of Tourism and Culture, the Minister of Youths, the All Stars President, Sidi Yaya Tunis, former Minister of Tourism and Culture, and some members of the general public. Side attraction from one of Sierra Leone's youngest talented singer, 6-year-old Xias Leonius the Genius, whose performance was above his age, and he performed the cover song Waiting by the late Amara Kaba. His version preached on peace and unity between the stakeholders in the entertainment industry. Other performer at the ceremony was a young upcoming singer, Pete Wizzy, whose real name is Philip Valcastle. Pete grew up in a musical home where he met all types of musical instruments, and this forced him to play the keyboard and guitar. Pete started his nursery in Freetown Teachers College and the Joaquin Primary School at Kingstown. He did his secondary schooling at the Albert Academy, where he sat to his WASC exams. Presently, he is a student at the Jala University College reading social work. Pete released his first single, Feel For You. Pete said that he wanted to make a mark in the field of entertainment in Sierra Leone, and he frowned on the ideology that entertainers are dropouts. Pete Wizzy has decided to release another new music video called Hustler, a song he said meant a lot to him.
Tell me why you the past last me to the cry. Now the sister they make with the cry. Every day with the same old lies.
On the release of his first album, he said his management will come out with a notice on that. Pete said the public should expect great songs from him, featuring artists like Star Z and Camouflage. He said he wished that the government would provide an auditorium for local stars to perform, and he also wished that all clubs in the country should play 90% of Sierra Leonean songs.
And now to any news, the main points again. Preparations ahead of free education policy are well on track. Education stakeholders assure the public. Former Executive Director of Campaign for Good Governance, Vanora Edwin, has said that her exit from CGG is not an end to her civil activism on right issues. Small Arms Commissioners train military officers on protection of armories. And a one-time Director of Finance at the ECOWAS Commission in Nigeria and former NRA Commissioner General in Sierra Leone, Aliou Cissé, has won a case against the Commission. That's all in the news tonight. Thank you so much for watching, and good night.
Where use? You get use?
Yes, I get use.
This na the program where they give you the use where they happen all about the country.
Inside where use, we go take you text, Facebook and WhatsApp